When you see this icon, pause the presentation. Restart when you're ready. The eSgoil National 5 Gaelic Learners course was developed with the help of the following bodies. Obrichen Iga, Jobs 2. And this is the 21st lesson in the course, and in this one we're going to be looking at a formation called nam nad. We're going to be looking at how to say the word if in Gaelic, and we're also going to be looking a little bit at the conditional tense. What we're going to look at in this, most of this lesson, is how to use ha to talk about jobs with the help of nya. And up until this point, we've focused on ensuring a tight divide between using ha, from the verb be, with verbs and adjectives, and she, the verb is, for nouns. Now this was particularly important in terms of talking about jobs. She polisahown, he's a policeman. And when we define what a place is like, she Ballamore a hamlin Dunedin, Edinburgh is a big city. Now, she is a vitally important structure that we must ensure we can use well. However, it does have its limitations, and that's particularly obvious when we try and talk about being a thing in connection with concepts such as expressing a need, want, or desire. I want to be a teacher, or I would like to be a minister, or I really want it to be a good day. Now, for this, we have to use a structure that allows us to use ha and other forms of the verb be, and we're going to look at how we do that going forward. Now, nam nad is what we're going to call this a bit of a shorthand, and really that's a shorthand for this quite unwieldy type. Inflected prepositions with possessional pronouns. Those possessional pronouns are going to become very important, but the preposition, those little words that tell us where things are, we already use when we talk about what things are. Because if you remember, she doctor hunum uses unum, in me, to express the state of being a doctor. Literally what you're saying, it's a doctor that is in me, and not in a proctological sense. She doctor hunum. Okay, and that's how we express being in Gaelic, is that you are in the thing that you are. Now, in order to use ha for saying what things are, we have to use what's called the inflected preposition with a possessional pronoun, and that preposition is aun, and the possessional pronoun is nam when we're talking about ourselves. Now, it's not such a big concept because we're still using aun to say in, but in this new construction, we're still expressing this but using nam, and that's a contraction of aun, and mo, so in my. So to say I'm a doctor, you say hami nam doctor, hami namo doctor. And because we've used something based on mo, we have to eliminate the word which follows, hence it not being hami nam doctor, but hami nam doctor. And it's based on mo do. So if we look here, there's down the left hand side, mo, do, ar, ur, on, are very familiar possessional pronouns. And they combine with un to create the following: nam, nat, na, nar, nur, nam. Nam can sometimes be expressed as namo, and nat sometimes as nato. And when we're talking about what something is, we try to make sure that the nam, nad, whichever one we're using, matches the subject. So if you're saying I'm a doctor, hami nam doctor. If you're talking about you are a doctor, hau nad doctor. And as we said, mo, do, and a for him, for his lenite. Now we're going to move on to a much more in-depth table, and really, if you remember back to gam gat, which is another inflected preposition with pronouns. In fact, it's two inflected prepositions along with possessional pronouns. You'll see the same rules of omission that exist there. So if we look at consonants, ha mi nam chocher, ha u nad chocher, ha e na chocher, ha I na clocher, ha shin na clocherin, ha shiv nur clocher, no, ha shiv nur clocherin, and ha ied nan clocherin. If it's BPFM, a labial, ha mi nam fumer, ha u nad fumer, ha e na fumer, ha I na plumer, ha shin na plumerin, ha shiv nur plumer, no, ha shiv nur plumerin, ha ied nam plumerin. So we see that the one for they changes because it's a P. With vowels, ha mi nam inulater, ha u nad inulater, ha ina injelater, ha ina hinjelater, ha shinnar ninjeleteren, ha shif nur ninjeleter, no ha shif nur ninjeleteren, ha ied nan injeleteren. So engineer. And talk about secretary, ha minam runere, ha unad runere, ha nya runere, ha nya runere, ha shinnar runeren, ha shif nur runere, ha shif nur runeren, and ha ied nan runeren. So it follows the same lenition rules as always, and it happens to be based upon a possessional pronoun so that we do that. So what you're literally saying is I am in my, or he is in his, or she is in hers. So here's some hingy exercises for you to try. You might want to keep referring back to the previous table to help you out with this one. So have a go at them. There's Gaelic and English ones, and there's also English to Gaelic ones, so there's quite a lot to keep you going there. So once you're ready, move on to the next slide to check the answers. And there are the Freagairtean. Now some of the ones, you'll notice that if you are talking about Gaelic, for example, Gaelic is a feminine noun, ha Gaelic n canon ma. Okay, so it is a good language, ha Gaelic n canon ma. Ha alba na duich alwai, or ha alba na duich vria. It's not the duich that's feminine, even though it is in this case. It's alba itself is feminine. So ha alba na duich alwai. Because if you said it was a beautiful country, you'd say ha I na duich alwai. So it goes on like that. Now here's an interesting one. Again, like we say, she is still vitally important, and you will need to know how to use she carrying forward. Now, she teacher a hunam, but what I'd like you to do with these ones is take those structures there, she, chanye, and ye, and use them to create haminam forms. So she teacher a hunam, haminam teacher. How would you do that for the rest of them? Pause it, work through that, and the answers are on the next slide. So what we'll do, because this is a little bit of a changing one, we'll look at the differences. So she teacher a hunim, haminam teacher. So the same pattern should apply with the next one. She shineder a hunim, haminam heneder. She barst the hinsche, hai ne barst. She is a poet. Kan je kruleder a hunim? Kan je kruleder a hound? Chanel na chrúleder. He is not a broadcaster. En je dorser a hunnet. A velu nad gorser. Are you a janitor? She kucheter balkosje I hinsje. Ha ine kucheter balkosje. Gaan je ministeren a hunning. Gaan je shin nad ministeren. En je sagerst a hunnev. A velshef nur sagert. So you'll see there that the unev becomes a shiv, so it's a vil shiv nur sager. So there's an agreement there between the subject and the inflected prepositional with a pronoun. However, you can talk about other people using nam nat. So we talk about other people in relation to others using nam nat. So it's very flexible. So if you change the prepositional, inflected preposition with a possessional pronoun, you can get things like this. You can talk about people's relationships to other people. Ha nar teacher. He is our teacher. Charui nam charij itcher. She was not my friend at all. Betolum vi na chianard. I would like to be his or its manager. And an urinio vi nad charij. Can I be your friend? So using that nam nat thing, you can change who you're talking about. So here's some examples of that. Pause it, work through them, and just you can keep referring back to the table further back in the lesson to help you. Now, moving forward, if you look at the bottom, all these ones you can answer, just check your answers and see how you got on. Hopefully it didn't confuse you too much. So remember, the the he, she thing, that's still the subject, that's still going to be your second word. But if we're talking about our doctor, our brother, his sister, that's going to all be affected by which nam, na, nat, na you use. One thing to draw your attention to is the bottom. The he is his father. Could also be ha e na ahad. Could be he is a father. But in that type of situation, you would work it out from context. You would say ko esan. Who is he? Oh, ha e na ahad. He is his father. But you're not randomly just saying that some guy is a father. He is a father. You would have an idea that you were talking about somebody's relationship to somebody. So we've done quite a lot of that stuff. We're going to look very quickly at the word if in Gaelic. So the word if in Gaelic can be a tricky business, and we'll encounter a little development of this a little later on in this lesson. But if in Gaelic is a tricky business. So for positive statements, you use ma with the independent, or some would say the relative form of the verb. But that's the bit you use to answer yes. So you would say if you are, you would say mahau. Mahau geri oberinshaw. Femi to came and in Frankish. So if you want to work here, you need a degree in French. If you want. In the future, use the relative. So ma vies to. So that's for the future tense. But for the most part, just use the bit that you used to say yes at the start of the sentence. At the start of a sentence. Now, for negative statements, so in Gaelic, we have a specific word for if not. And for that, we use what we call the independent form, the dependent form of the verb, and that's the bit that comes after han. So if you look here, murelu giri furuchanshaw fudi to follow. If you don't want to stay here, you may leave. So that's the bit that comes after han, chaniel, murel, and muribi jishal yivshin trot. If it's not finished, we'll get a row. Muribi jishal yivshin trot. So mure or muribi. You do hear some people use murnachel or but that's completely wrong. Okay, or manachel, which is mure, murel. So we move to iderhengi geberwa, translate these. So here we are. Some of these are ma questions. Some of them are mur sort of statements. And if you want to just translate them, you'll get the answers on the next slide. And there you have it. And moving on, using nam nad to express future hopes and wants in terms of work. So we've talked about that. You use this really helps if you want to talk about what you want to do when you finish education, either school or university or college, and you talk about your future employment prospects, which is a very popular and effective thing to use in your talk and in your writing, and also you'll encounter it quite a lot in the reading and the writing, reading and the listening. You'll have it there. So, Hami igiri vi nam rochter. I want to be a doctor. Hami ersne vi nam vet. I'm for being a vet. I want to be a vet. Betalum vi nam nurse. I'd like to be a nurse. Betalum vi nam nurse. Now, betalum, which we've encountered before, is an example of a phrase in the conditional tense. I would like, not is Tom I like, but I would like. And the conditional tense are things that would be done, things that would exist. So things that there's a condition that would happen. I would like a cup of tea if there's one going. So betalum is a bit of a conditional shortcut. We've encountered a few little conditional phrases like this, and I would recommend you get these three sorted out. Betalum, biarlum, and buchor, and they're useful ways to talk conditionally without having to worry about the sometimes challenging ways in which the conditional form of the verb changes, which we'll look at shortly. And so we've covered these three structures in previous lessons. Butalum, I'd like. Biarlum, I would prefer. And buchorgo, I should. Now, one final note, if with the conditional case is nam or nan, depending on spelling the verb. So if you would like, nam butalat. If you would like, nam butalat. So we'll leave that there just now. That's quite a lot of advanced Gaelic in terms of the if for that. But we're going to look at the conditional tense of be very briefly, just so you've got a sense of it, because it does sometimes appear in the National 5, but it's very important at higher. So this is a good little note to have. So what we're going to look at is the conditional tense of be, because as you know, be is the most basic verb, and it is therefore the most basic form of the conditional tense, and it's part of the same verb as ha, chaniel, va, charo, be, chavi, etc., and acts pretty much the same way. It just goes to the start of the sentence and works it. Now there's one little tweak, which is this. If you are saying I would, you say viain. You don't say viag me or viain me, you just say viain. So me is part of that. So this is what you do for me, u, e, shin, shif, iad. You do this viain, viag tu, viag e, viag e, viamij, viag shiv, viag iad. Say that again. Viain, viag tu, viag e, viag e, viamij, viag shiv, viag iad. And then again in some dialects, viain, viag tu, viag e, viag e, viamij, viag shiv, and viag iad. And that's just really a little bit about spelling, maybe just showing that that little syllable just has a slightly different sound. And you'll notice also again that viain, there's also one for sheen, viamij. Now, if somebody asks you a question though, you don't need to use viain or viamij. You just say viag or chaviag. So that's it to be aware of. Viag, chaviag. And we're just going to give you a couple of exercises to do just to cover that one. And here they are. So have a little stab at them. These are fairly straightforward sentences, but they do involve would. So all your sentences should have would or would not in them. And when you're ready, you can move on and get the answers. And there you have them. And that's very good. Moving on to a couple of things you could use. Not particularly a fan myself of learning lots of stock phrases, other than the ones that you do need, but these are some little conditional phrases which could improve your N5 vocabulary, give you a little bit of a, definitely aiming for that 20 out of 20 type, 27 out of 30, 27, 30 look. But Mollig too, would you recommend? Volling, I would recommend. Chavolling, I would not recommend. We've already done Cymru Chanas too or J Chanas too, but sometimes that's expressed in a conditional sense. J Chanig too, here's some frogs in Gaelic. What would you say for frog in Gaelic? J Chanig too, here's some frogs in Gaelic. And you can use Chanin, I would say. Chachanin, I would not say. And then Chanin gevele firiste, I would say that it was easy. Chanin gevele firiste. Yichain, I would eat, and Yichain, I would not eat. So you'll see there, that's how the conditional works in other tenses. Now, moving on. Levig. So here's a Levig one. So there's a passage, but the same length as you would get in one of the pages on National 5. So have a wee stab. Ishbel's talking about what she does. Her future employment plans, and answer the questions. So pause it, have a go at that, and when you're ready, move on to the answer to the next one. And so if you look at that, she wanted to go to Edinburgh University, all high in Dunedin. There's a course on chemical iana to do a course in chemistry, or just to do chemistry. Van mij go factory Femin, Tuiv Sheer Lewis, a seaweed factory, 1 mark. In the west side, Tuiv Sheer Lewis, the west side of Lewis, 1 mark. Quite a lot of extra information there. So you have to pull out that she helped with tests or exams, and she also wrote reports. Next one, there's quite a lot of information again as well, but the Hantura Stolma, the wage is good, but Femi to Oberkukrua, you must work hard. Her father's job is a science teacher in a high school, so 1 mark for that, and her mother works in an office in the town centre, or the centre of town, on an office on the main villa. So hopefully you got 10 out of 10 for that one at this point in the course, and it helped you consolidate your vocabulary. And the final part of this lesson is we're going to look at the talk conversation a little bit more. So moving on, I would always recommend to any high school pupils, try and talk about your educational experience in your presentation, talk about yourself, talk about where you live, where you go to school, what your school's like, what subjects you enjoy, what subjects you have done, what subjects you'll do next year if you're going to be there, and of course, if you are in 6th year, what you'd like to do, or in fact, if you're in 5th year, what you'd like to do, and on 4th year indeed, what you'd like to do in the future, and then that should help maybe close out your presentation or allow the teacher to ask you some questions about that before moving on to talking about what you would like to do in terms of your employment in the future. And remember, your conversation should last for about 5 to 6 minutes. If it's a little shorter than that, it's more the content they're looking at. But a good way is also to ask questions back to the teacher. Be prepared to ask for clarification and repetition if required. So make sure you've got your gathmalish skills, your cantioniriest, your balyev, your all that kind of thing there. And remember so much, make sure you listen to the question and listen to that verb at the start. Remember the yes and no in Gaelic, you have to use the verb to say yes or no. So if you're just going har haniel, you're not going to get it. So listen closely for how that verb is. So go back, look at the previous lessons in this course, look at your verb tables, make sure you know how to answer. Okay, and also try and expand on all your answers with reasons. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read out some of the questions, and you can pause them while you create your thing. Or what you can do is get your answers ready, and once you've done seen these slides go past, and then go back to this point in the video and go through it. So, Avel oberakket in draste. Avel oberakket in draste. This might be followed up by Katje vil u kopper. Kun je vies tu kopper? Kun je vies tu kopper? Kun je vies tu tasjehug? Kun je vies tu tjesja? Vil en ober karste grucht? Karsan. Vil en ober karste grucht? Karsan. Jane ober betalat när det vies tu när skinje. Jane ober betalat när det vies tu när skinje. Catch en betalat via gubber. Catch en betalat via gubber. Yn fimu y ro gan chawastje no gan alhai sin shin. Yn fimu y ro gan chawastje no gan alhai sin shin. G y biarwat. Toerist o môr no wayan sure fatte. G y biarwat. Toerist o môr no wayan sure fatte. Yn moig tu yn oper sio. Carson. Yn moig tu yn oper sio. Carson. If you prepared answers to those questions, as we said, you can go back and run through this conversation again from the start. So tap alive, there's not much more content to come in these videos. You're getting quite close to the end of the National 5 course. But Arish, tap alive, there's going to be call around. Thanks very much for being with us, and hopefully the video has been some use. Please remember to subscribe and also to tell your friends about the fantastic Gaelic Gaelic. Jane and Drast.